everyone. Let's take a look at the Strauss excerpt from Till Eulenspiegel. So at the end of this video, I will be playing through the excerpt, but for now, let's just talk about how we can practice this. So obviously, this is a very difficult excerpt technically. There's lots of passage work. String crossings can be super awkward here. It's difficult to find a good fingering. And then on top of that, it's double forte pretty much the entire time. And especially in the lower register, that can actually be pretty difficult to project with some of those fast-moving notes. So the first step for me in anything really, no matter what I'm learning, but especially with kind of difficult pieces that maybe I'm not very familiar with, I want to find a good fingering, and then I want to make sure that I can play each note super well in tune. So I'm going to start by playing with no rhythm, no bowings, and no dynamics, nothing. Just want to tune every single note. Right, and I would go through this piece maybe 2 measures at a time, maybe 4 measures at a time, really depending on how much I need to work on this stuff. So for more difficult passages, I'm going to break it down into smaller sections, really spend some time going from one note to another. If there's a shift, like for instance in 31, you just want to practice a few times. And everywhere else that you might have a transition that's difficult, you want to just take that out of context, work on that, and then put it back in context and see how it's working for you. The next step, once I've done that, so I'll go back to the beginning, I'll put in the bowings. And I'll still play super slow. And I'm watching for good sound quality, I'm watching for that intonation to still be there. And again, I'm doing little segments. Now what I might do is focus on 2 measures at a time. First play it separate bows without rhythm for intonation, then layer. I'll add the bowing, then maybe start to add dynamics, go a little bit faster, etc. Now, kind of the biggest issue here, of course, are all these passages. So let's take a look at measures 3 and 4. A common way of splitting things up is by position. So I'm starting in second, and I will play all of the notes in second position. Then my 2 notes in half position. Back to second, first, and then fourth to finish. So I might actually not stop for the open string shift because the open string gives me time, so I would play something like this. And then I can do this faster and faster until I feel like I'm maybe close to tempo, and then I'm going to mix it up and have a different approach. So this next way is going to be splitting it up by the beat. I'll start here, then right. The next one is going to be rhythm work. So hopefully you're a little bit familiar with this kind of thing already. I'm just going to use 2 basic rhythms here, kind of long, short, and then short, long. Except I don't really lengthen one of the notes. I just play 2 short notes, and I leave space between. So like this. Right, and then the opposite. And even here, I'm trying to be really as clear as I can with the sound. Kind of everything's from the string, a little bit gritty, because once this goes fast, I'm not going to have time to use a lot of bow. So same exact process I would do for the slurred sections, right? So exactly the same way, except now you want to incorporate the slurs. So you have the slurs, you need to know when you're doing your rhythm work, for instance, here, right, that's a down bow, and I need to know that each time if I'm practicing just that segment, I'm going to practice it on a down bow. And I would do that until, okay, this is starting to feel good, and then, all right, this is already working a little bit better, because once we get rid of the rhythms, it's so much easier to play all of a sudden. Now, same thing here, you want to also split it up by position, by beat, and this little segment, the other way that you can split it is by the slur. So, if I just do this end bit here, then I take a little break, then the next one, all right, right? And then I can think about decreasing the amount of time that I need to go between the various segments, right? The last thing that you want to do here, of course, is practice with the metronome. So once you have a good fingering, once you've tuned everything out, once you can play through all of the segments, so you want to start putting the whole thing together. You want to set your metronome to kind of an incredibly slow tempo to start, like slower than you think you need, and like maybe even have the eighth note be the beat at the beginning. I think that's like super helpful for your rhythm as well. And at a very, very slow tempo, you want to start playing beginning through to the end. You kind of make little mental notes. Okay, this didn't work, that didn't work. But get in the habit of playing through, because that's a challenge here in and of itself, is just to get through this. Starting slow, bump it up a click at a time. So, you know, if your metronome goes literally one by one, maybe skip a few numbers. And then once you get to your edge, don't push too far. So we don't want to sacrifice quality just for tempo. And if the end tempo that you get to is a little bit under what's marked, you know, so what? It's not the end of the world. You're going to stand out if you play with good intonation, good articulation. That's going to be much more valued than just, you know, following the tempo marking. There are a couple of more spots here that I want to just draw your attention to. 2 before 31, we've got some accents, and then the accents stop. So use lots of bow speed for when you do have the accents, right? And then when you don't have them anymore, so I have accents, kind of chill out after you've done the lots of bow speed. And then multimarcato. So we want, again, bow speed, vibrato, very, very vibrant here. Lots of energy. At the very end, we have a little mezzo forte. Have a little fun with that because it's the only time we get in actually to calm down, right? So you're coming down from here. And vibrate that last note. If you can learn to vibrate the last note, the first note at least, you know, that's is going to be such a big plus for you, especially here because it's going to keep ringing. And if you can add a little bit of vibrato, that's just going to be a little elegant touch that you add there. So I hope this was helpful. And here we go. Here's the run through of the excerpt.